Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of y'all and peace out to the rest of you. Shout out to Cortez Smith for what he sent me. It was linked to a very short video. And in it, a man named Will Nakuzi, who I believe is Polynesian, talked about a phenomena amongst the Polynesians. Now, mind you, Polynesians are not one nationality and they don't all speak the same language. They're pretty diverse. You look at them and you can see evidence of African admixture in them, of course, but culturally speaking, they're certainly distinct from everybody that we call black. Well, anyway, he said, well, if sisters are talking about this, I mean, you know, there's a reason that you got these Polynesian men that get successful and they go and they marry these Wyatts. And he plays a clip on his own video. He plays a clip in which a Polynesian lady is saying, you know, when these brown men get money, they would prefer these Wyatts over the sisters. And she uses the term brown men and then she uses the term sisters to refer to the Polynesian women. Will Nakuzi stops playing that video clip and he goes back and he explains, when you got high value men, these Wyatts will compete, the sisters won't. Does that sound familiar? Now, these are black admixed people, if you ask me. But as to how black they are, that's going to be up for debate, and I'm not getting into that. The point I'm making is that culturally speaking, they are distinct, not only from African Americans, but even from people of African descent from other parts of the Americas. Many of them do live on the western United States coast, if they live in the U.S. at all. These men and these women do share many things in common with us despite their own cultural diversities. Things like holding each other back, you know, things like if somebody makes fun of you for something, or if somebody makes fun of somebody else for something, but you don't have that problem, then you're supposed to pour mouth and act like you do. So let's say that you're abnormally tall. In some cultures, you shouldn't stand at your full height because it's not because it's part of their higher culture, but because it's part of their lower order culture. Why you standing at your full height? You stuck up because you tall? And that's only because people that are short might be ridiculed and made fun of, and that's not okay either. Or let's say if you're there and you try to start a business there, then people might come along and help themselves to your stock and your inventory because, you know, you're supposed to look out for family. But they don't turn around and look out for you when now you owe all this money and your inventory is gone because they helped themselves and didn't pay. Things like that. In other words, they are very, very oddly familiar. Some of the same dysfunctions and things that hold us back amongst each other, actually plenty of them, they have as well. And I'm not saying this to knock them. I'm saying this to remind us that we're not all the time unique. We're not as unique as we think we are. What is unique about us is that we think we are so much worse off than other people. That's what's mostly unique about us. How unique we think we are is really about as unique as we are. Only black folks, no, that's not true. Now, there's, to a certain extent, we are more honest in having discussions about ourselves and the things that we need to change than other people might be. And I say might, because there are things they'll discuss in front of each other and would not discuss in front of me or you. And then there are things they will openly tell you if you get to know them well. Yeah, this is one of our bad habits. So I want to point this out to us. We're not the worst in the world. I keep saying this and I keep hearing people turn around and say again, only black people. Sometimes it's true. Usually it is not. You got another group of people that aren't even linguistically uniform and monolithic themselves, nor culturally so. Some of them are mostly Catholic, some of them are mostly Protestant, some of them believe in the religions of their ancestors and don't give a guck what the F word any church or mosque for that matter has ever had to say on the soils of their countries. Some of them have the exact same culture as Polynesians, and yet they're referred to as Melanesians because they are visibly of black stock. 4C hair, blonde and still 4C, and abundantly melanated. Wide nose and big lipped and all that. So what I'm getting at here is that even then you're going to hear about certain, even the borders of Polynesia are not clear because Polynesia is not a country, it's a region. And where it stops and Melanesia starts is not something that's crystal clear. It's a spectrum, much like race is at all amongst human beings. Race is not a social construct, it is an extant spectrum, but the social construct is in where we draw the lines in between any two races, or how we define them. Then we get overwhelmed by the diversity within, let alone between them. How about the cultural and the behavioral uniformities between different groups of people, like what you see with them and us? The men become successful, and then all of a sudden, they're, even if it's not true, that's the other thing. We don't know how true that perception is amongst them, but they have this perception amongst themselves that if he gets successful, he might run off with one of the Wyatts. Is that not what is said about us? I wonder if this was actually studied, how many of them would become successful or middle class and still be marrying their own. People got more in common than we might think, even when we say we don't have any friends. And we love to say that, don't we? So keep in mind that as we learn about other groups of people, you may be in for a shock as to how similar we are. Thanks for listening again. Black Heart, Black Mind, Blackout. Till next time, Assalamu alaikum. And as usual, black, heterosexual, non-select male power, and black patriarchy until extinction or judgment day.